So I figured, welcome, by the way, to episode 2 of 15 Minutes With. Really, Jimbo, you're the first, because we did a test pilot with your friend Darren.
I'm number one, baby. I like this thought.
One.
Okay.
Yeah, you're kind of number one. But I figure if you're going to do an interview with the owner of the Drake, you should probably do a little research and eat at the Drake. I'm sort of ashamed to say I've never eaten at the Drake.
No worries. I got you covered. I eat the Drake every day, Eric. I've had everything on the menu. Go ahead and drop me a question, and I can tell you about it because I've been there and I've had it.
I bet you have. 2023, let's start here, celebrated 20 years.
2023 celebrated 20 years last summer, actually. It's been quite a 20 years. There's been several restaurants start and finish in that 20, but not the Drake restaurant.
Yeah.
We went through it.
And what was the key? I remember in your ribbon cutting when you celebrated that 20 years, I saw the video of that, and you talked about a couple of those reasons why you've sustained.
I think there's several reasons, and I can't remember what I said of last June. That's the way I am.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, I think one of the main reasons that we've been a continually popular restaurant in Burlington, Iowa, is that my staff is simply outstanding. Okay? I've got all these young kids with a lot of energy, and they have created this atmosphere that they want to bring people in. They know people's names. They remember what they eat. They remember what they drink. When they leave, they ask them to come back. Or we say, thank you for coming. Please come back soon. And my staff has picked up on that. My kitchen staff is on spot. Our food comes out on point, very little variation, day to day, minute to minute.
Name off some of those long-term employees that have.
Those are easy. You start with Brian Atwater, been with us probably 20 years. Christine Atwater, she's in that range, like 17 or 18 years.
Husband, wife?
Pardon? Husband and wife.
Wow.
Yes. All 4 of their kids worked for us. All 4 of their kids did an outstanding job for us. I think Ramon Romero's next, probably in about the 14 to 15-year range. Then we got some servers. Tammy's probably been with us 9, 10 years. I'm trying to think here. I know that Bailey and Frankie started with us when they were kids, and they've been waiting tables probably for 5 or 6 or 7 years. Haley Peterson's probably been with me 9, 10, 11 years, something like that. I got Sam Jacobs back in the kitchen. She does an outstanding job. I think she's in that 6 or 7 year range.
I've watched you during the 69-cent sale roam the floor there. You've been there long enough that you can probably tell when someone comes in and maybe they're having a bad day. You know a lot of people. You're like the norm on the other side.
I might be the norm on the other side.
Yeah, everybody.
Because I kind of like to see the norm on the right side, okay?
Yeah.
But I can tell you this. I don't know that I've seen too many people come in having a bad day at the Drake restaurant. I think most people come in and we kind of drape that off. We take that off of you.
Yeah.
And you all of a sudden get in this environment that I'm going to have a little bit of fun here for the next hour or two, and I'm going to forget about that bad day.
Yeah.
Now, certainly more than one person has come in and said, boy, I need a drink. I've had a bad one. And guess what we do? We get them a drink in a hurry.
It's not lost on you that you have one of the best properties. I mean, look where you're at. You're right over there on the river. You can't beat it. You can't beat that spot.
Somebody might have told my dad he was crazy back in the middle 70s when he bought that building and it was empty and it didn't have anything in it. And
what was his idea when he bought it?
He was going to put a restaurant in it, and it took him about 20 years to do it.
Yeah.
And he got the job done.
Yeah. So in its first startups, what was it?
When we first bought it, we put some offices in it for a while. We did some warehousing in there. We had a paint line in there for a while.
People rented.
Yeah. For our other businesses worked in there. We rented space out to a real Riverfront Realty. We rented space out to Drake Hardware and Software. Drake Hardware and Software started out in that building originally.
What did your dad do?
Well, my dad's owned Riley Paint here in Burlington since the early 70s.
Yeah.
Before that, he owned a ready-mix business in Ames, Iowa. And then before that, he was basically in college. So,
is he where you get the work ethic?
Maybe I can tell you this. I didn't goof off a lot of Saturday mornings when I was a kid. I always had chores, and I did my chores.
Yeah.
I can tell you this. I was farmed out to every farm and friend my dad knew when by the time I was between about 9 and 16. So I'd make sure, you can go help those guys out there, Jim. You go take care of that, James. And I did. I don't mind working. I kind of like working. It keeps me out of trouble. I might be a guy who could get into trouble left to his own devices, Eric.
Yeah. Why the restaurant business? Why do you love it? Is it because Dad built that legacy?
You know what? I love the restaurant business long before the Drake, okay? I started working out. I worked at the Pizzazz when I was a kid, like 15, 16, 17, bussing tables. I worked in the kitchen a little bit, and I had fun. I enjoyed what I call the restaurant buzz, that there's always a little energy in the restaurant. The team is always excited. There's things going on. When I was in college, I tended bar at a really nice restaurant in Ames, Iowa, and the same thing. I got that buzz. I got this satisfaction. Of course, you make some money. Okay,
sure,
you can make some money in the restaurant business
if you want.
So when I was tending bar, I was this 20-year-old kid that had more cash in his pocket at that time than he ever had in his whole life. I was living the dream. I got out of college. I got another job. I worked for Train Air Conditioning for, 8, 10 years. Came back, worked for my dad in the paint business for a few years, and the Drake started up. And after a while, the Drake needed a little help.
Yeah.
And so my brothers and I all volunteered, and we work 1 or 2 days a week. And I ended up volunteering probably about couple of days a week for a couple of years. Eventually, my brothers said, "Hey, why don't you work 3 days a week in the restaurant and 3 days for us?"
Yeah.
And then after a year or two of that, it was like, "I think you need to be full time in the restaurant." And I agreed with them because I was about wore out. Okay. And so ever since, I've been the Drake restaurant guy.
In the 30 years that I've done broadcasting, when I wasn't fortunate enough to have a radio job, I worked in the restaurant business, and it can be an easy job to get in certain departments. And like you said, when there's a team and those people like being there, even if you're the dishwasher, you're part of that energy.
You feel part of that team.
It's pretty great.
And I think we have a very, very strong team at the Drake restaurant. I think we all get along exceptionally well.
Yeah.
Okay. And we help each other. It's very common to see one server helping a customer in another server section because it simply needs to be done. Okay. Yeah. It's very common for someone to, need help, and a dishwasher says, "I'll take care of that." And he just dumps out and sweeps or mops something for me so I don't have to do it. Our team is, I'd say, they're results oriented. The results they want is they want happy experiences at Drake Restaurant.
The philosophy, that's not my job, you don't hear that over.
I don't hear that very often. And I tell you what, when I do hear it, all of a sudden it becomes my job, and I will make it happen.
Yeah. You literally came 3 blocks over from working. You've been on the line.
Yes, sir. I was here at 8 o'clock this morning.
Yeah.
I've been there all day, and I'm going back to work in just a little bit.
Fridays and Saturdays, what's killer days at the Drake?
Fridays and Saturdays, those are our big days typically. Yeah. Valentine's Day this last week, huge. Our summers are big and heavy. That's when we're really busy is May, June, July, when the patio's open, the weather's nice, and we just literally seat thousands of people every week.
Yeah.
And that's still a lot of fun. And when we have music on the patio and I can walk around and sing songs that I like the Doobie Brothers or a little Jim Croce or maybe some Eagles, any of those songs, I know the words to them.
Yeah.
So I sing right along with the bands.
Speaking of, your patio is amazing. I started last May, and I drive by, and that's my turn to get on the bridge, and I see people, little revelry going on at the Drake.
Absolutely.
That's got to make you feel good.
Every day. Again, it's just fun. I feel like I work with all my friends, and at the end of the day, I get a drink with them, too. Not a bad gig.
I bet you sleep well.
I wouldn't say I'm a great sleeper, but I sleep. I tell you what, if my head hits a pillow, I'll end up sleeping. I can tell you that.
Maybe I'm not putting you on the spot, but I thought it'd be interesting to know when you're not at the Drake, you and your lovely wife. Tell me your name one more time.
Lisa.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Where are your 3 favorite spots to go? Don't necessarily have to be Burlington. Your 3 favorite spots
well,
to
I
go.
can tell you my favorite restaurant in Burlington, Iowa, outside of the Drake restaurant. That'd be Jerry's Main Lunch. Best breakfast in town, baby.
Yes.
And I tell those girls every time I'm in there, best breakfast in town.
If you don't want to get to know people, don't go to Jerry's.
Oh, I know everybody in Jerry's, I think, when I go in there.
Because you're going to sit right next to them.
Oh, yeah. And then I get to watch them cook my food. The food's always it's again, great consistency on the food at Jerry's.
And they've got a newspaper. I picked up a newspaper. I was reading the newspaper at Jerry's. I felt like I was in 1956 again.
Yeah. I like the feel of the place. Yeah. And the food's good.
That's one. Jerry's main lunch. Where else?
You know what? Other than that, we don't go out to much. You
Really?
know, I hit the golf club once or twice a year for dinner. That's for sure. I'm a member and I like to play golf. But you know, I spend enough time in a restaurant. I don't want to spend too much more time in a restaurant outside of work.
Yeah, I asked him for 3. He gave me 1. But Jerry's main lunch is pretty great. Yeah. When you're not thinking about restaurant, which is probably never, what do you do?
I think about golf.
Is it golf?
I think
Really?
about golf.
Yeah.
When I'm not thinking about restaurants, I'm thinking about golf.
Yeah.
That's my addiction. It'd be golf. If I could play golf every day, I would. But I don't think that Drake and I don't think my wife will let me play golf every day.
With this weather and the change in the last several years, you're probably going to get out there a little earlier this year. I got a feeling.
I can always hope. My birthday's March 28th, and I like to always play on my birthday. We'll see how lucky I get this year.
Do you go to Shankopotamus and work on your drives?
I have not been to Shankopotamus yet this year, but I do go to Ready Golf, the golf simulator in downtown Burlington.
Yeah.
And I go down there from time to time and hit balls into the screen down there, and I've been like that. And that's also a very nice little addition to downtown Burlington, Iowa. That's a nice little business.
I was looking over your shoulder when we were with Amy Burkhart at the Drake a couple weeks ago, and I saw another one of your newest hobbies. And that's a grandbaby, right?
Yes. Yep. And let's see. When's the last time I saw Cam? I saw Cam, I think it was a little more than 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, something like that. But I do get to go up and see him. I think it's Saturday a week. And then I've been asked to babysit a couple days in March. And I will gladly go up and do the babysitting. I'm looking forward to that.
Is it your first grandchild?
It's my only grandchild.
Yeah.
Yep.
Was that a pretty great feeling?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I never expected the feeling to be quite as good as it is.
Yeah. My daughter's 25, and I think it's going to be a while, but I'm sort of looking forward to it.
My daughter was almost 34 before she had her first.
Yeah.
So your time's a-coming.
Yeah. I think this new generation is just
They take a little longer.
They're taking a little longer, yeah.
Yeah.
I think my parents were 17 and 18.
My parents were probably 21, 22, and I was
Yeah.
probably 25, 26,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. What you've seen a lot of restaurants come and go, and the Drake still stands. What do you think restaurant owners get into and they don't know, and then it maybe doesn't work out because of that? Starting out, what is maybe the number one mistake they make?
I tell you what, I think the number one thing that was hard for me was just getting a grip on all the different costs that are involved, because it's just not what the food costs.
Yeah.
You know, we use a lot of utilities, a lot of water, electric, and gas, okay? Property and taxes aren't cheap. We got to worry about rent. And then there's all the, there's lots of repairs that need to be done in a restaurant on a very regular basis. I probably have something like 8 or 9 refrigerators. I got 8 or 9 air conditioning units. All these things run all the time. Well, they constantly need repair, and that's just something I didn't realize how much it took until after I was in it for a little bit.
It takes a little while to know.
Yeah. Okay. And those things can catch up on you in a hurry. So you gotta, and you can't, you can't operate without air conditioning. You can't operate without a refrigerator.
Well,
you got to have those things.
And to me, you can't operate without a personality too, like at least one Jimbo in your building, because people got to like the place they go.
I don't know if they even want the one Jimbo they got in the building, but they ain't kicked me out yet.
They haven't. No.
They let me come back. I don't know why.
I haven't known you that long, and I still haven't eaten at your restaurant yet, but I'm coming, and the number one reason is because of you.
Well, thank you very much. That's very kind of you, Eric.
Yeah, I think every place needs something like that. So tell me about love for Iowa State. You got some love for Iowa State?
Oh, baby. Grew up in Ames, basically. I was there when I was a kid. Moved away when moved to Burlington in 7th grade, I think I was. So I always had Iowa State blood in my veins. I still do. I went to Iowa State. I graduated from Iowa State. I had a daughter who went to Iowa State. I love the Cyclones. Degree? I love their football team. I love the basketball team, and I like going up and watching sports.
Yeah. Would you graduate with business?
I graduated with a degree in industrial engineering.
Yeah. When do you use that?
Not very often anymore, but you know what? But engineering also taught me a lot about problem solving, and I have to do problem solving on a very regular basis.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. And sometimes it's me who's looking in the coolers and the air conditioners, the pumps and the heaters, or whatever else.
Because you know how much it costs.
Not just because of what's going on. Can I fix it or not fix it?
Right.
Okay. And if you can't fix it, I got to get the right guy.
Yeah. Jimbo from the Drake, and you guys are closed on Sundays.
We're closed on Sundays. We work Monday through Saturday. We work basically 11 to 9, Monday through Saturday. We have happy hour day, 4 to 6, half price drinks. Y'all need to come by and see us because we're going to have a little fun when you show up.
Tell me about the music. I know you love music.
Yes.
Yeah, and you have it a lot.
We have it a lot in the summertime.
Yeah.
We go Memorial Day weekend to Labor Day weekend. Music every Friday and Saturday night, weather depending.
Who books?
We have to cancel. We've had to cancel. I'm sure we cancel every summer one or two times for either rain or a very excessive heat.
Do you book the artists?
I do book the artists.
Really?
Oh,
you
yeah.
do a little research and maybe...
I don't do much research. I have a list of guys.
You do?
I've had, somebody will call me up. I'm pretty easy. Someone might call me up and say, hey, we'd like to play the patio. What kind of music do you play? Okay, how much do you cost? If they're in my budget, I'll try them for a night.
Yeah.
See how, and several have been tried for a night, and they made the permanent list.
We can shout one out. Our friend in common.
Sean Kissler, absolutely. So Sean, he's going to kick off patio season on the Friday of Memorial Day weekend, and he's going to close down the music patio season on the Saturday of Labor Day weekend.
You can't go wrong bookending with a Kissler.
Sean Kissler's my man. I love his music. I love the way he puts on his show. This guy plays from his heart. I say he plays everything from A to Z, which is average white band to ZZ Top. I've heard him play Johnny Cash, Roger Miller, Stinky Cat from Friends.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. He knows it and he plays it. All of it from memory, too.
Yeah.
Never an iPad, never a notebook, never music sheets. He just plays music. I've heard him play Pink Floyd and Queen on that acoustical guitar of his and did an outstanding job of it.
Sean Kissler's the man. He doesn't need to be told. Your 15-minute break is over. Do you believe it? We actually went 17.
Well, I'm sorry if I talk too much, Eric, but you keep asking questions. I'll keep talking.
Well, everyone told me you're not going to have to ask any questions. Jimbo will just do the talking. 15 Minutes With, you can catch it on Titan's Facebook page. You can see previews on our Instagrams, and we want to thank Jim Jennings, as everyone knows him as Jimbo, owner of the Drake. 21 years now. You at 21 yet?
We'll be at 21 this summer.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I'll be over soon with the wife, I swear.
I'll be ready for you, Eric. You bring them by, and I might show you a smile or two.
15 Minutes with Jimbo, everybody.
Thank y'all.